Steve Gamache here with the Chef Knives to Go quick look product review, and this time we're looking at a Honesuki knife. This is the Yamashin Shirogami, or white paper number 1, Honesuki 150 millimeter knife. So this knife is a Japanese poultry knife, and it's meant for birds, although you can use it as a general purpose knife as well. This particular one is 50-50 ground. A lot of them are not, so this is 50-50 ground, so a lefty or righty can use this, which makes it a little bit more versatile. And the core steel is a Shirogami, or white paper number 1 Hitachi reactive carbon steel. The heat treat's about 60 Rockwell plus on this. There's not a specific number, but it should be around 60-ish. The construction is a reactive iron cladding, or softer iron cladding, on each side of that core steel for a 3-layer sandwich. And they've also got a kurauchi, or blacksmith finish, that's pretty smooth. It's nicely done on top of that for protection. And I believe they have a lacquer coating on these as well. So the out-of-the-box edge was actually pretty good, but it had a little bit of lacquer on it. So a quick run over the stones gave me a really, really sharp edge on this, and had a bit of a machine finish look to the edge itself. I'm not sure quite what they ground it on, but you can kind of see waves in the grind, although it was actually pretty sharp. But a quick run over the stones to clear that lacquer off, and you'll have a nice sharp knife. The let's see, the weight is 93 grams, or 3.3 ounces. The blade length was 155 on this one. They will vary a little bit from knife to knife. And the overall length was about 11.3 inches with the handle. The spine thickness coming out of the handle, again, these will vary a little bit from knife to knife, was about 3 millimeters. And then pretty much has a distal taper that comes down and then maintains that as you hit the angled grind towards the tip where it thins out, of course. The blade height is 36.5 millimeters back at the heel on this sample. And the handle is, I've got D on here, but ignore that. I pulled that from some other data. This is an oval handle, so it's not D-shaped, it's oval. Basic hoe wood, plastic ferrule, nothing fancy at all. Just a basic handle. You could seal it up if you a little bit want with some tung oil or mineral oil if you want to seal it up a little bit. Easy to sand down if you want to make this flush with the ferrule. It's not quite flush, but again, a no-nonsense, just basic handle. Handle circumference is 69 millimeters right here where the ferrule hits, and you know, it works for the size of the knife to give you a little clearance if you wanted to use it on a board. Let's take a closer look at the blade. The finish actually is surprisingly nice on this for the price point. It's a little rough on the spine and kind of around the choil, but it's rounded on the choil. It's just a little bit rough. So kind of refined, I'll make a new word, refined rough stick. So it's, you know, it's got a little bit of rough around the edges, but yet it's not going to hurt your hand or anything. It's pretty well ready to go outside of sharpening the knife. So you've got some embossed kanji on it, and you can see the finish is fairly smooth. This knife's actually ground pretty well, and it's a stiff blade. It's not as stiff as some blades of this type, but it's pretty stiff. It's got a nice pointed tip on it, and it should work quite well for its intended purpose. If you look at the profile there, you'll see it's a 50-50 style grind on it. Let's take a look at a cutting board sample. A lot of times this will be used in hand for bird breakdown, but you could use it as a utility knife if you wanted to do so. And here's what it looks like on a cutting board. So you've got a fair amount of clearance there if you want to use it that way. And since it is double bevel, again, it makes it more versatile. So it's a very smooth profile. No particular flat spot, but might work quite well for a small utility blade. If you want to try sharpening and you want a lower cost, nicely made, kind of versatile knife, it's a little bit smaller and make it easier to sharpen, fairly flat profile on it. This might make a really good choice for you, and you can learn how to sharpen on quality steel, which makes you more confident than some of the cheaper stainless steel on some of the cheap knives, which are sometimes really a drag to sharpen. So really cool knife. So these might, by the way, come with different handles in the future. So Mark's looking at some upgraded handle options on these. So this video could be a little outdated when you see it a little bit in the future on handle type, but that's the current handle type that we're using as of the making of this video. So there you have the Yamashin Shirogami, or white paper number 2 Honesuki 150 millimeter knife.